working with my new webcam, and unfortunately, I can't access it on my desktop. So while I've got my camera situated there, I'm having to look at it over on my laptop. So this is going to be a little awkward, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'm having trouble uploading my other videos, and something that's been kind of bugging me for some weird reason the last few days. I thought I would talk about. It's just something to do with games, but for some reason, an old problem I had with Silent Hill Homecoming has been just like pouring through my mind lately, and I don't know why. But I know a lot of people, like the fan base is pretty divided on Silent Hill Homecoming. I mean, if we're honest, the game only came out to correspond with the movie that came out around the same time, which is why you saw a lot of locations and monsters that were similar to what was in the movie. But I mean, overall, I thought it was an okay game. If I had to rate it, it would probably be like a C. First three being A plus, fourth one being like, I don't know, B plus, and Downpour was it's always kind of hard for me because it was kind of hit and miss. A lot of things I really loved about it. A lot of things I really hated about it. Um, but Silent Hill Homecoming was just kind of like meh for me. But there is a plot point that has always bothered me, and I've never seen it discussed, and I don't know why, because it seems like something that would be I don't know, kind of a big deal, or at least to me. So I'm not going to discuss Pyramid Head being in the game. Everybody talks about Pyramid Head being in the game. I can kind of sort of justify it a little bit. One being that it's really there for movie purposes, and since Pyramid Head looks like he did in the film, I mean, that was supposed to tie into that. He's also supposed to represent the internal desire for self-punishment, which both Alex and James had. I've not really seen anything in the lore to indicate that Pyramid Head was supposed to be a James only monster. Um, but I mean, whatever. I know that each Silent Hill game deals with an individual's own personal conflict, but I mean, I don't know. If I had it my way, I would have come up with a whole different sort of character to represent that instead of using Pyramid Head again. Although, to be fair, he does look very different from his Silent Hill 2 counterpart. But anyway, that's not what I'm going to discuss. What I'm going to discuss is about the ages. The ages in this series really bother me. So now, if you've never ever played Silent Hill Homecoming, really quickly, I'm going to give you the brief rundown on what it is. Okay, so Alex Shepard, who was like about 22 or whatever, he comes home from the military to find that everyone's acting weird. Half the town has disappeared. The town is surrounded by fog. Now, this doesn't take place in Silent Hill. This is actually in Shepherd's Glen, which is, I believe, across the lake from Silent Hill. But it was founded by settlers that were once part of the Silent Hill community. And so, anyway, you know, he goes through the typical stuff that most of the protagonists go through, and his parents are acting really bizarre, and he runs into an old friend, Elle, and her sister's missing, and her mother's the mayor, and just everyone's just acting freaky. And spoiler alert, it turns out that our friend Alex wasn't coming home from the military. He had selective amnesia. He had a traumatic experience. He was sent to a psychiatric hospital, which I think was supposed to be Alchemilla, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, Silent Hill has two other insane asylums to choose from. You've got, I'm blanking on the name of the one in Silent Hill Origins, the huge one. And then, of course, there's the infamous Brookhaven. So why they felt the need to turn Alchemilla into an insane asylum instead of a regular hospital, I don't know. I mean, for some reason, this small tourist town now suddenly has 3 insane asylums. That's crazy. Pardon the pun. So I don't get what the deal with that is. but that's neither here nor there. So he comes home from the insane asylum because he had accidentally, well, he really didn't have anything to do with it. He was out on the lake with his brother, his little brother Josh, he keeps seeing throughout the game, and the brother fell off the boat and drowned. um, Kind of a fluke accident. And apparently you find out that when the town was first founded by the four founders, they were part of the cult that started the original town of Silent Hill. And in order to break away, they had to appease the Silent Hill gods. And in order to do that, they had to offer up one child from each family and part of a very brutal ritualistic sacrifice to the gods. So one child would be selected from each family and would be murdered in a really horrific way. Like I think one was buried alive, one was mutilated, one's meant to be drowned, which is the shepherd family, and I forget what the last one was supposed to. I think hanging was the last one. But in any event, I guess it was supposed to be set at a specific time when they would all kill their kids and so forth. Um, in any event, what was going on was the shepherd family had chosen Alex to be the sacrificial lamb, and because of that, they treated him horribly because they didn't want to become attached to Alex, and so they favored Joshua over Alex. And but since Joshua died instead of Alex, it turned everything upside down. Apparently the gods were pissed because they're very particular on which child is marked to be the sacrifice. You would think that a child that died from the family, that died in the manner that he was supposed to die, would be satisfying enough for these gods. But no, apparently they're very picky, and when someone's marked for death, they're marked for death, I guess. So apparently the gods felt cheated and decided to bring the town into chaos. And then there's something about the cult from Silent Hill coming in. And I don't remember. It's been forever since I played it. But something that bothered me was the ages. They don't really make any sense. So now, one of the things I really, really liked about Silent Hill Homecoming was I liked the boss monsters, and all the boss monsters are the children that have been slain, and they represent their specific death. And I really like the designs of them. I think they're really well done. But I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But anyway, the ages bothered me, and here's why. Okay, so you have the founding fathers. There were 4 small children and then 2 older children. So you have, for the Shepherd family, you had Alex, you had Joshua, and then for the mayor's son, which Elle Holloway, that's okay. So for the Holloway family, you had Elle and you had Nora. Sorry, I'm on the wiki if you need to, like, I really need a refresher in Silent Hill lore. This is a good place to go to if you're a fan of Silent Hill and you need to stop by here. Okay, so Silent Hill wiki, check it out. Anyway, so Elle and Josh are roughly the same age. I think they went to the same high school and all that stuff. And then Joshua, I don't know if it tells Joshua's age, but he appeared to be between like 10, maybe 10 and 12 years old, something like that. And then, so too, it seemed that Nora, Dr. Finch's daughter, and the other little boy that died were the same age, or same age range. So that's kind of weird to me. Okay, so apparently these kids all have to die within the same time frame. So that would apparently be whenever Alex was shipped away to the military. But I don't know. It's kind of, okay, so you would assume that any of the founding fathers would want to have at least 2 children, right? You'd want to give birth to 2 children. You want one child to be sacrificed, and you want the other child to carry on the family legacy, because a sacrifice has to be made. What was it? I think it was like maybe every 50 years, maybe every 100 years, maybe it's every generation. I'm not sure, but a sacrifice has to be made. So you would want that when you know that you're going to have to sacrifice your kid, you need at least one backup kid. I hate using that phrase backup kid, but it is what it is. Okay, so you have Alex, and you would assume Elle would have been chosen for a sacrifice, but for some reason the mayor chose her little sister. Okay, so if now Alex and Elle are 22 years old, why didn't the other two founders have children around the same time frame? There is a huge gap between the ages of Elle and Nora and Alex and Joshua. And this is really weird to me. Okay, so being that for a woman, the older she gets, the harder it is for her to have children. Why did they wait so long between the gaps? And why wasn't Elle chosen? Because there was no way that the mayor could have known that she would have had a second child. I mean, you would think that, let's say there's a 10-year gap. Let's say there's a 10-year gap. There is no way that the mayor would have known that she would have had a second daughter. Anything could go wrong. She could not get pregnant. She could have a miscarriage. Maybe the baby is born, but something happens. I mean, 10 years is a long time. And then you've got to think that the other two founding fathers waited, or the other two founding families waited forever to have a child, and they only had one. Now, why is that? That doesn't make any sense. All the parents seem to be roughly the same age. So it's kind of like, why did you wait so long to have children? It's just weird to me. Like, it's just something that's always taken me away from it. So Mayor Holloway had Elle, and then decided, you know what, I'm not gonna make her a sacrifice. I'll have my backup child later. But I mean, like, something could go wrong. And then you had Martin Fitch, and he waited forever to have his little. I think his daughter was probably the youngest. I'm trying to find out if I can see anything about. I don't even remember her name. Scarlett was her name. I remember because that's my sister's name. And I actually like her monster probably the most. Margaret Holloway. I don't know. I probably should have read this a bit more before but this is kind of a spur of the moment video, so it just is what it is. Anyway, it's just something that's always kind of really bothered me. Like, and how did Alex not know about this? I don't know. It just seems to me like, being that the town was so big into their history, I know it was like a dirty little secret, but and of course there's like a few other issues I had. I mean, I did like that you got to see Tulika Prison, but I thought it was established in Silent Hill 2 that the prison no longer existed. Like, it's buried underneath the historical society. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it changes every game. But anyway, that's just something that's really, really bothered me. I don't get it. It seemed to me like, I mean, to be honest, it seemed to me like they were like, okay, we've got to have a protagonist. Let's do a male protagonist, like a military man. Okay, but he's not really going to be a military man because, we always got to have somebody that has amnesia. And, yeah, so he's not really a military man. Oh, let's have a hot chick. We need a hot chick. She's not going to do a whole lot. Even though, Heather Mason was one of the best freaking Silent Hill characters, period. We're not going to have a really cool female character. We're just going to have I don't know. She's not even like really eye candy because she's really clothed. I know that sounds so sexist. And don't forget Angela. Angela had, she wasn't a strong female character, but she was an interesting one. She had what I would have really liked to have seen was Silent Hill to do what because Silent Hill 1 kind of did it in their little play novel where they had one version for Sybil and then they had one version for Harry. I would have loved to have seen Silent Hill 2, like, instead of that Maria thing, which, okay, I would have loved to have seen Eddie and Angela's and maybe even Laura's journey through Silent Hill. I think that would have been a really awesome game to see what they were going through. That to me would have been a more of a big reveal. I mean, because like, yeah, we knew Maria wasn't. I mean, you could tell right away that Maria wasn't any a real person, but I don't know. Anyway, it's just something that's really, really bothered me with this game, along with a few other issues. Um, I did like this game. When you compare it to its predecessors, it's just really a huge step down. And so anything that's a huge step down is a disappointment. Um, but yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I mean, like if somebody's got a reason why they would have waited so long, it's just something. It's just a little plot point, but something that really bothers me because that it takes me out of the game and is making me think like some studio head would think like, and I hate that. I hate that because like the first four Silent Hill games, well, actually even Silent Hill Origins, Shattered Memories, they felt like somebody was sitting there and actually took their time to write up a story and make their own characters. Like Shattered Memories. I don't understand why it's supposed to be a reboot. I mean, they're all basically they're nothing like their original characters, so I really don't understand why they couldn't just say, "Hey, this isn't a reboot. It's just a new story." And just let it go at that. It works as its own story. It doesn't need to be a reboot because it fails miserably as a reboot. Um, but as its own standalone game, it's actually really good. So it's like I don't understand that. And another problem, it's like I don't know. It just feels like one of those corporate games that are shelled out. Like it's soulless. It reminds me a lot of Resident Evil 6. It's just corporate chill. But to be fair, I like there were some things I liked about. I know this game gets a lot of crap, but I thought the voice acting was pretty good. The game looked good. Some of the like the torture sequence between him and the mayor were kind of creepy. Very hostile. And again, I did like the boss monsters. I thought they were pretty good. Um, but anyway, that's just my two thoughts. It's just something that's really, really bothered me about this game. I'm thinking of maybe doing a video on the pros and cons for Downpour, but that would be probably an hour long video. Like again, there are some things about Downpour I absolutely love, and then there are some things about Downpour that I'm pulling my hair out. Like what like I love the protagonist. Like I think that's the like the in terms of protagonists for Silent Hill, there isn't a whole lot of protagonists, or there aren't a whole lot of protagonists that I actually like in terms of they excite me. Heather excited me. I got excited playing as her. She was a lot of fun. And then the fact that she's such a huge part of the series in her many forms is awesome. And then, and then Murphy was another character I really liked. Because it seems like every Silent Hill game, it's always the same. It's somebody who has amnesia, has no idea what happened, what's going on. Their perception of reality has been marred by their past, and it's just kind of like, okay, it's the same thing, and you know that they did something bad, or that it's just, but here, like Downpour, it just cuts straight through the chase, straight to the chase. Yeah, I know who I am. This is what I did. Uh, it was pretty great. Um, I would have loved to have done more. And I will say that again, like Downpour with the Silent Hill movies, there were a lot of things I loved. There were a lot of things that drove me crazy, like especially with the second one. Oh God, the second one. I think the fan base can pretty much admit that that second one was a clusterfuck of the highest order. What what the hell? But I did get excited seeing that prison bus. That made me really excited. I felt kind of like if Silent Hill Downpour was polished and organized, it could have been a pretty good game, a pretty great game actually. Like there's a lot of things I think that they missed an opportunity to do that would have really made that game stand out. And then for Homecoming, the game needed more heart. It needed a soul. It just felt like corporate BS. Like some corporation took, like, Konami took the game and was just like, okay, what do we need in a Silent Hill game? Okay, let's check off all these lists. But again, I did really, really like the boss monsters. I thought they were pretty great. Um, just thinking about how the kids died is really gruesome. And then like Martin Finch's death, like when you first see him and he's cut himself, is kind of gruesome. Kind of that was kind of a moment that kind of got me a little. Ugh. And Mayor Holloway kind of freaked me out. Um, what's his name? Curtis. Ugh. And yeah, like the voice acting was good. They had some good characters in here. They just, again, the game just feels kind of soulless. That was my main problem with it. But technically, it's not a bad game. It just doesn't feel, because like with at least with the first four Silent Hill games, you felt like there was a lot of heart that went into it. Like the team really sat down and said, "We want to make a good game. All right, here's the lore. What can we do with it?" And I still think that there's a gold mine here. Downpour touched a little bit on it, which is why I can't hate it, because I do feel that there was some thought put into it. It just was just a clusterfuck. Like it just, maybe there was too many hands or something. It just felt kind of, I don't know. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree, but let me know what you think about that. Was that something that bothered you? I mean, I guess I'm the only person that was bothered by the ages of the protagonists in Silent Hill. So let me know. Please leave constructive criticism or a nice comment on the board. This is my first time with the webcam, and I'm super self-conscious and I cannot stop rambling. I know this isn't as polished as other people do, but let me know what you think about in terms of plot, because I'm always down for discussing Silent Hill and other horror games. And oh my gosh, when does the new Resident Evil come out? That game's gonna be so good, so good. Okay, yeah. So thanks guys for watching, and hopefully you'll tune in next time I make one of these, and I'll see you next time.